Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how mind-blowing it is that YouTube actually pays this channel $200 a month just to talk about velocity banking. And I'm just getting like it's almost like passive income because what I'm doing isn't really that hard. I'm literally just recording myself doing an Excel spreadsheet. And someone had told me 5 years ago, hey, you can make $200 a month in like 3 months if you just record yourself doing Excel formulas and just typing stuff in Excel. I would have had my mind blown, right? But that's what I'm doing for here today. Just showing you all what's possible. So you can see here the estimated revenue that we got for last month's $200. I've been paid YouTube 3 times, right? 3 times. Every check that I've gotten has been more than $200. And what's crazy is we got monetized in 3 months, right? And I know there are far better stories than mine, but I'm just showing you for this channel what has been possible. And here's the thing: if YouTube's going to pay us because people want to watch this content, guess what? We're just going to keep recording velocity banking videos, and that's what we're going to actually do in this video today, right? So if we go in here, I got my velocity banking spreadsheet, okay, and it's really simple, right? And there's really, when you do velocity banking, there's only two things that you need to do, and I always talk about this every single video. You need a budget, and you need a line of credit as an operating account. Now, you might be saying, what is this velocity banking? I just clicked on this random YouTube thumbnail. And I don't know what it is. Well, all it is a simple strategy to pay off your debts using something called a line of credit, right? And we're gonna make it easy today, just because I gotta go soon, and there are more complicated situations out there. But let's just assume that you're a college graduate making 4 grand a month net, and you got a sweet $60,000 job. But guess what? Maybe you have 3 credit cards that need to be paid off, and you got an actually really cheap mortgage because you live in a low cost area. Because there are still some areas in the country where properties sell for like 50 to 100 grand, right? Maybe you might live there. You don't live in California where, one single family home may cost you more than $1 million, So, every circumstance and situation is different based on where you're at in the country and what market you live in. That's a better way of saying it, right? So, we're going to pay off these debts using something called line of credit, and a line of credit is a tool where you can borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. And a credit card is actually a line of credit. Now, let's just assume that we're not going to make any money and we have no savings, right? And you might have your mind blown because I may be the first person in your life to ever tell you, hey, don't ever have a savings account. Again, I'm not telling you that directly because I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm going to tell you what I don't do. I don't have a balance in my savings account, right? Or if I do have a balance, it's because the credit union requires me to have like a $50 balance just to keep that account open, right? But in general, you'll see my checking account. I post a screenshot, it's zero, and people's minds are blown because what we're going to do is put our entire paycheck into the line of credit, take our expenses out, and repeat over and over again. You'll see what I mean by that. Now, let's just assume that because this person's a homeowner, they may have a lot of equity, right? We don't know when they bought the home. We don't know if it was passed down to them, maybe a gift from the parents. They transferred a deed. I don't know, right? But it's a cheaper home. But let's just assume that they have something called equity, and all equity is the purchase price of the home or the sales price of the home. So if you're going to put a for sale sign, that's the estimated price or value of the home, subtracting all debts, right? So if you have like, let's say this is like a $300,000 home, you subtract 120. Their banks are willing to lend you that amount, usually like 80 to 90% of it, right? And if you don't know what I just said, just assume that we can get a credit card based on something like a credit card based on the value of a home. Okay, and let's just do this again. Let's make it easy. So we'll say that this is a 10% interest rate. We have a $50,000 line of credit from a home equity or home equity line of credit. And then we'll say we'll start off with this. So the rules of the game are the following. You can't you can't make more money. I'm sorry, let me say that again. You can't make more money and you have access to a limited credit, right? That's the easiest way to kind of help people figure out what the value of velocity banking is, and actually the value of just getting more credit, right? Again, not giving you financial advice, but just something kind of like food for thought to think about. So, if you were to present this situation to your average person, right, and they were looking at this, and it's like, hey, if you had a budget where you only have $400 a month, that's not a lot left over, right? And how can you help this person without making more money, but you have access to credit? Okay. And most people would just stare at this and say, well, that's impossible. You need to make more money. Oh, well, the answer to most things in life, it depends. But let's just say we transferred this debt. So, how much debt is this? So, let me take a look. $41,000 of credit card debt into here, right? 41,000. Okay. Guess what happens to our expenses, right? This becomes zero. This becomes zero. This becomes zero. And now let's take a look at our expenses, how they magically decreased. And then, right, now we went from this little itty bitty $400 of savings to a $1,700 a month in cash flow. And our cash flow is going to be used to pay off our debts, right? Here we were sweating and struggling. Here we feel like we're in charge of our money, right? Because here's the other thing, too. If at any time during the payoff process I needed more money, I'm not going to freak out, right? Because my line of credit is essentially my savings account. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do some formulas here. So it'll be I2 plus 1, and then the next month is going to be the previous month plus the previous month's, or balance plus the interest minus our cash flow, which is 1780.54. Okay. And now if we take the interest, right, or if we're going to calculate the interest, because when the first month you're doing it, which is month zero, you don't get the interest until you get the first month statement, which is what month one is. And so we're going to take the average, do this, multiply it by zero point 0.1, which is the interest rate, this 10% right here, and then you divide by 12, right? And now let's just go ahead and pay this off. And so all we got to do is just copy and paste these formulas until we see these big red numbers. That's which means that the line of credit is paid off. So at 24 months, 2 years, our line of credit is ready to go, right? It's at zero. We paid off the $41,000 of debt in how many months? Let me just review that. 23 months. So just a little bit less than 2 years, which is really good, right? So let's go ahead and write this down. So we have a milestone here, or let's write down our milestones, okay? And so 23 months, and how much of debt? That was 41K, right? So this, great, we got rid of this debt. Now guess what? All we have is the mortgage, right? So let's figure out after 23 months what that mortgage balance is. So what we can do is just put down 120,000. Now again, could it have been possible to get a $120,000 mortgage and have $50,000 of equity available for credit? It depends because we saw insane appreciation in the early 2020s. And, I can't predict how the real estate market works. In fact, in 2020, I was like afraid to buy real estate just because I thought it was actually going to crash, right? And I was totally wrong about that. I think a lot of people were, even seasoned experts. So a lot of it is just it depends. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this. 126%. So 7/19/46, that looks correct. All right, so now what we got to figure out is at the end of 23 months, um, end of 23 months, 117K is our new balance, right? So let's go ahead. So after 2 years, we only chipped off $3,000 of this mortgage. It's insane, right? Um, 2 years? Wow, almost 2 years. So if you just kind of do the math, right? And let's say we want to take a $4,000. How long would it take us if we do it to the bank schedule, right? So we're going to look for 114. So a year has passed. So 2 months, 1 month in a year, and then 3 months, 4 months. So about almost a year and a half, a little bit under a year and a half, just to go from 117 to 114. But let's take a look at this, right? So what if we just do a simple debt transfer and go to go to actually 113 because it's 117 minus 4. How long does it take to get to 113? My bad. 113, so all the way over. Ooh. So a year, month one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. So about like a year and 10 months just to chip away $4,000. Isn't that insane? Right? And so if you take a look at the interest, and I always like to show this, take a look at the interest compared to the actual principal or the loan balance you're actually paying off. 7 to 1, 7 to 1, 7 to 1.6. It's insane, right? But you can, once you're at a point where this is like the last debt you're going to pay off, and then this goes to, you could just do a simple debt transfer to 113K, right? And then go ahead and transfer maybe 4K at this point, so plus 4000. Guess how long it took you to pay this off? Only 2 months, right? Whereas you could kind of see it pretty much almost took you 2 years if you just went to the bank schedule to pay it off. That much off just because of how mortgages work. All right, and then you just rinse and repeat it over and over again. This is what we call chunking. So the main benefit of chunking is that yes, it lets you pay off your debt quickly and less interest. But the main benefit is, I'm going to say benefit, what I call benefit number three, much easier to maintain and control your cash flow when you're putting all your money in one place. Okay, so let me go ahead and we're going to go ahead and write this down. So we're going to use our Velocity Banking cheat sheet calculator. Okay, and this is actually created by Renatus, and I'm actually a Renatus student. So let me just go ahead, 000. And if you want access to the calculator, you got to enroll these courses. I actually sell them. So if you're interested in learning with us, not only Velocity Banking, but all this other cool stuff that's financial and real estate investing related, you'll get access to this calculator as well. I'm what they call an independent contracted marketer. Now let me go back to what I'm doing here. So this is 117,095.86. So now what we're going to do is just do this, put the interest rate here. So this is like a cheat sheet where I could just put in everything and it'll do the velocity banking calculation for me, 719.46, 719.46. And we're just going to move your salary to the line of credit. What are your expenses? Let's take a look. This will be $1,500 a month. So we just put $4,000 here, 1,500, and then the interest rate is going to be 10% for the home equity line of credit. All right. So now you take a look here, and it takes us 4.5 years, and look at how much money we're saving, right? So 125. Mind blown. So, all right. So now, after 4.5 years, so let me just do this. 23 divided by 12, 1.92. So just do 1.9 plus 4.5. So 6.4 years. That's debt free. And so that's going to be 161K debt free. Right. And yeah, so again, isn't that awesome? And maybe the reason why YouTube is just paying that nice money is just because a lot of people, they want understanding and simplicity, which is why they're looking at these videos over and over again, which I'm excited to do. I think there's going to be a point in this channel where not only we're gonna definitely gonna make 200, but we're definitely gonna surpass that. If we get, let's say, like the size of my mortgage payment, which is not that much, $989 a month, at least for my personal mortgage, I'd be like, you know, that'd be awesome because then, I was planning to pay it off in about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I'm gonna pay. You'll probably be paid off in like 3 or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, that's sky's the limit. I'm just gonna keep posting videos. This 200 is gonna go to 300 one day, and then 300 is gonna go to 500. 500 is gonna go to 1,000. Mortgage paid off, and then I'm good, right? All right. So this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group and learning about not only velocity banking, financial literacy, real estate investing, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day, and we will speak next time.